The final thing we need to consider with foreign markets and rates of exchange between countries is the rate of exchange for their currencies. Now, there are whole classes about this. In fact, you can be an expert in foreign currency exchange trading. It's a whole industry around the world. In fact, it is the number one thing that is traded between countries. We like to think about goods and services going back and forth, but that's really not the highest thing. The greatest thing that is exchanged between countries is money. Just trading their own currencies back and forth, right? So this is rather unique because the rules have changed and people still haven't caught up with them. What we need to understand when we're exchanging money is there is no standard for money since 1971. Money is not backed up by anything except your faith that it is. No, it's really interesting. You would think it was backed up by gold, but that changed in 1971. We went off the gold standard for reasons I'll explain when we get to chapter 14, and it's a doozy. But that's what we need to understand. Money has no intrinsic value. It is backed up by nothing except your belief that it is worth something. We all collectively believe that it's worth something, and so it is. That's the essence of money in this new day and age. Okay? So this grand experiment, we'll see how it turns out. What that means is that your money floats relative to other currencies. So no currency has any intrinsic value on the face of the planet. It just has value relative to what people want compared to the other currencies. So all these currencies in the world are just sort of floating around second by second. Every day they're changing value relative to each other because they have no intrinsic value on their own. It's just a relative value. So what determines the value then? Currencies go up or down based on supply and demand. Those are the forces that change whether those currencies go up and down. Now, again, we're going to talk about supply in chapter 14. Yes, the supply of money can actually change, but that's an even crazier concept, so we're going to hold on right there. We're just going to talk about demand. If people want more of a currency, it will go up. And whatever currency they don't want will go down. So whatever currency they buy appreciates, it goes up in value relative to the currency they sold, and it'll depreciate or go down in value. Hopefully you can get that, okay? So if people, a business, or a country want to get more foreign currency, they increase its demand and they decrease their own. Let's do it as an example. Here we go. We've got US dollars right here. If we buy more stuff from Japan, they aren't just going to take our dollars. They're going to first want us to exchange it into their currency, which is called the yen. Okay? So if we say, here's a bunch of dollars, we want some yen so we can buy your stuff, then what happens on the world market is dollars go down because we're getting rid of them, and the yen goes up because we're demanding it. And so we have to pay a premium for it. They aren't just going to exchange it one-to-one because there's a high demand for that yen, and the exchangers know that they can get a higher price for it. So we've got to pay that extra to get those yen so that we can then buy the stuff from Japan. If we do that, that means someone's holding a bunch of dollars that they never wanted at the beginning of the day, and so the dollar depreciates or goes down, whereas the yen appreciates and goes up. So that's what these little drawings right here are, is that the US dollar, if it's exchanged for yen, that means the US dollar is going to go down and the yen is going to go up. Now you say, but Mr. Haight, aren't we buying and selling stuff from Japan and they're buying and selling stuff from us and it's going back and forth all the time? Yes, that's true. But what we need to understand, it is the net exchange rate. So if you add up all the things that America buys from Japan and you add up all the things that the Japanese buy for America at their value, then you'll notice that we as Americans buy a lot more than the Japanese buy from us. Think about like the Dows. We sell things to Japan. We send them cherries. A lot of our cherries from the Dalles go to Japan. But cherries don't cost as much from what the Japanese send to us. What they send to us are things like Toyotas, Hondas, okay, high-end electronic goods. So think about all the electronics in the cars. That's going to have a much higher value. We've got to give them a lot of dollars, and they're only buying our cherries. That's not very much. And so because of that, we need more of their yen. We're essentially paying a premium to get them to give us their money so that we can then buy Toyotas with it. Okay? And when we want those yen more than we want the dollars, the yen goes up and the dollar goes down. And this is happening minute by minute, second by second, all over the world. If there's ever an increase in the currency's demand, it goes up. If there's a decrease in the demand for that currency, it goes down. If you want to make a lot of money or lose a lot of money, you can become a currency trader on the FX market. Everyone out there says they've got a system, and if only you pay, $49.95, come to this workshop and we'll show you how this system works. Sometimes those things get it right and they've got a little bit of an edge, and a lot of times the person who's making money is the one who's actually giving you the seminar and then taking your $50. It is an extremely complex market. It's like a casino on steroids. So if you love the thrill and the rush of making and losing millions of dollars in a day, jump into the foreign exchange currency market, because those traders with that kind of stuff can know how to buy and sell these things. So there's a whole market just for money. And you can take your money and exchange it for other money in the world so that when you exchange it back, it becomes a higher value of money. So if you make a bet that you got dollars, you exchange them to yen, but then the yen goes up the next few days relative to the dollar and you exchange it back to dollars, you now have more dollars than when you started. Of course, it can also go the other way and you can lose a ton. So this kind of dynamic is happening all the time. So it's not enough just to think about Ford and Toyota and now the tariffs cause a different dynamic. And what about the dynamic for the foreign exchange rates? So goods can become more expensive or they can become cheaper depending on the value of a nation's money relative to the other nation's money. Okay? So I just wanted to touch on that now to get you kind of thinking about these things. It is a vastly complex topic, and we're just going to do a tiny little bit. All right? Thank you.